Did we read this?
Excuse me, Prabhu, there's only a black screen showing, at least to my...
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, now it's better.
Yeah, I had some problem, I think, with the laptop. Anyway, I'll try once again for screen sharing. Did we read this last time? Anybody remembers? I think we stopped here only, mostly.
We read Prabhu last time.
We read this?
Yeah, we read that Goswami's bodies.
Okay. Did we do this? I think this we didn't do. We'll start from here, I think.
Recording.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyataya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So, somebody would like to read? Anybody? Nobody?
Yeah. At death, a person always think of that subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. According to this law, because Bharat Maharaj was always thinking of the deer and forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. SB 5.8.27.
Yeah. Thank you, Babu. Yes. So Bharat Maharaj did not stop after some time thinking about the deer because he was raising the deer. He became more and more attached, and there was nobody to tell him anything. Right? So one thing is always to be in the association of devotees, and especially those devotees who are equals, who can tell us where we go wrong or where we are going wrong. It's very important. Right? So if we are in the company only to those whom we are preaching, they will not tell us anything, even if we do something wrong. Right? So even in the case of Ajamil, right, Ajamil was alone and Bharat Maharaj was also alone. Right? So somebody should be there with us to tell us, right? Because anybody can go wrong. An advanced devotee like Bharat Maharaj, he actually deviated from the path. Right? And he just deviated due to material affection. This affection to the deer was material affection. It was not spiritual affection. Spiritual affection is different. Spiritual affection is when you are thinking of somebody, how to help them to go back to God. How to help them in their devotional service. Whereas this was completely material affection. So we may think that I'll stop after some time. Let me do this particular thing now. right? But days will pass away, months will pass away, years will pass away, lifetimes will pass away, right? And then we'll come to our senses. Bharat Maharaj came to his senses when he became a deer. Right? Ajamil came to his senses when he was very old and when he saw the Yamadutas. So it's very easy to get carried away by affection. Right? So this is a lesson for everybody, all devotees, that when you're showing affection, right, check whether it is material affection or spiritual affection first of all. Right? And so Bharat Maharaj, even though he had left everything, he had given up all affection, material affection, but he embraced material affection in the form of this deer. Right? So it's a huge loss. It's a loss of 2 lifetimes. Bharat Maharaj could have gone back to Godhead in that lifetime itself. He had reached the platform of bhava. But because of this material affection, right? So our lifetime attachments will become our last minute thoughts. So we have to check, right? We can take a moment to check who or what are the deers in my life. Because if this has happened to Bharat Maharaj, it will happen to me. It must happen to me. Right? All of you must be knowing that amazing verse from Mahabharata. There is one amazing verse in the Bhagavad Gita, but there is an amazing verse in the Mahabharata. Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ha yamalayam sheshah stavarichanti kim ashyare mataparam. So this is the answer given by Yudhishthira Maharaj to the Yaksha. Yaksha is his father only. So what is that? Every day people are dying and going to Yamaloka. But those who are not dying, they are thinking they will never die. Does this apply to devotees also? No, devotees are transcendental. Are devotees transcendental to everything? No. So this is definitely applicable to devotees also. So whatever happened with Bharat Maharaj, can it happen to us? It can definitely happen to us. It happened to an advanced devotee, so it can definitely happen to us. Right? So at the time of death, we may think of our dears. So we should identify our dears. We should think whether we are always thinking about some deer. We should contemplate this, meditate on this, and then we should take suitable action. So in a family also, there may be mother, father, children, husband, wife. So affection is very natural. But that affection should not become so overwhelming and should not be just based materially that one forgets the rules and regulations of devotional service. Then it'll become a problem. So we should check while chanting or while doing our devotional service, what are we thinking? And what are we supposed to think? The mind is where we are where the mind is. So therefore, not only externally, but internally also we are supposed to think about the process and think about Krishna. So we should do this exercise. Otherwise, it's a very frightening thing if what happened to Bharat Maharaj happens to us also. So when death comes, there are 2 options. We are either going back to Godhead or we are taking birth according to the deers in our life. The choice is ours. We go ahead. Okay, somebody would like to read this? Somebody is not read before? I mean, before in the sense in this class, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, could I read?
Please, yes.
Thank you. At death, a person always thinks of that subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. According to this law, because Bharata Maharaj was always thinking of the deer and forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:8-27.
Yeah, we just read that one. I changed the screen. The screen hasn't changed?
No.
No, huh? Just one moment. Something is wrong in Zoom. How about now?
Yes, now it's different. Should I read?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you. Due to his foolishness, he became attached to an insignificant deer and thus fell down and had to accept the body of a deer. This is significant for every devotee. If we misuse our position and think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, we have to suffer like Bharata Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of body that impairs our devotional service. Only the human form is able to execute devotional service, but if we voluntarily give this up for sense gratification, we certainly have to be punished. This punishment is not exactly like that endured by an ordinary materialistic person. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, the devotee is punished in such a way that his eagerness to attain the lotus feet of the Lord Vasudeva is increased. By his intense desire, he returns in the next life. He returns home in the next life. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:8-29.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is saying this, that this is significant for every devotee. If you think that I am fully engaged and I'm doing my rounds and I'm doing it, right, so then therefore I can do whatever I like. I can be lax about being affectionate towards anybody. Then Srila Prabhupada is saying that we have to suffer like Bharata Maharaj. And at the same time, this is a punishment which is given by a loving father. Right? So Krishna is our loving father. So there are two objectives here. One is to punish, and at the same time, the eagerness to attain the lotus feet of the Lord increases. Right? So, and then when the desire becomes intense, the devotee returns back to Godhead. So, just like we discussed last time, it's not that he fell down to a deer's body and then he had to climb back. Right? Normally, a deer cannot become a human being in the next lifetime. The deer has to pass through other stages. And then there are three gates to the human body: cow, tiger, and monkey. But Bharat Maharaj didn't have to go through that evolution process. So it was only for one lifetime. Yeah. Okay. Right, we'll go ahead. Yeah. So anybody who's not read before?
Yes, so yeah, I can read.
Please, yeah.
Those who have, this is chapter lesson 8, utilize every moment of our life in devotional service. Those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful that not a single moment is wasted and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. as far as the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness are concerned, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna conscious movement. Yet, they must take a lesson from the lives of Bharat Maharaj to be very cautious and to see that not even a single moment is wasted in frivolous talk, sleep, or voracious eating. We should see that every moment of our life is utilized. Your life is utilized for the rendering of devotional service and nothing else. This is the secure position for one wanting to return home back to God. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. So who wants to be secure? Who wants to have a secure position for going? Who wants to have a reservation to go back to God? They should follow this instruction of Srila Prabhupada. If you want to be secure at the time of death, which may come even today, right? We should always be thinking that my body may be on fire today evening or tomorrow morning. Why? If after sunset there is death, then they don't burn. They burn in the morning. But if you die during the daytime, then you'll be burnt before sunset, your body. And this can happen to any one of us, even today. So, if we want a secure position, then Srila Prabhupada is saying utilize every moment of our life in devotional service. Because every moment of our life, we are given a choice. Right? And Maya is working overtime. She's a voracious tester. She examines mercilessly. Right? So she is not going to be lax about her duty. So if we are lax right, so it's either Maya or Krishna. There is no third choice. It's either light or darkness. So if you're not in the light, then you're in darkness. At least for that much percentage, let's say. Right, so therefore Srila Prabhupada is saying not a single moment should be wasted in frivolous talk or sleeping or voracious eating or anything else. Right. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Lesson 9, provide good association to those who come to ISKCON. Right, yes. Anybody who's not read before?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Okay. Association is very meaningful. Therefore, ISKCON tries to perfect one who enters the society. The members of the society should always remember that the society is not like a free hotel. All the members should be very careful to execute their spiritual duties so that whoever comes will automatically become a devotee and will be able to return back to Godhead in this very life. Although Bharat Maharaj acquired the body of a deer, he again left his earth and home. In this case, the mountain Kalanjara.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam 5:30.
Thank you, Babu. Yeah, so here, just one moment. In the last paragraph, there was one thing which I missed. So, Srila Prabhupada says that the devotees who have joined ISKCON, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. So, what is the meaning of this? We are like Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj gave up everything and then he deviated. So in one sense, most of the members of ISKCON, right, they give up everything at one point of time when they retire and take to spiritual life completely. And then there is a chance to deviate like Bharat Maharaj. So we should be careful that doesn't happen. Okay, here Srila Prabhupada is talking about that ISKCON is not like a free hotel that you come and stay and you have a picnic in ISKCON. Right? It is Keval Ananda Kanda, but it does not mean that we take it very lightly. Right? So all the members, Srila Prabhupada said, should be very careful to execute their spiritual duties. Why? So that whoever comes will automatically become a devotee. Right? Meaning that one should provide very good association to new members who come to ISKCON. Because we are like the doctors in this hospital. Imagine that there is a very beautiful hospital, marble hospital, very nice hospital, very nice facilities inside, beds are there, other things are there, but all the doctors are sick. Would you like to get treated in such an hospital? How many of you would like to get treated? All the doctors are sick. Whereas there may be some other building which may not be a marble building, but there are very good doctors there. Where will the patients go? Where should the patients go? Right? The answer is obvious. They will go to a place where the doctors are good. So similarly, here Srila Prabhupada is saying our ISKCON is like a hospital. So whoever comes here, they should have good association. And how will they have good association? If we are very careful to execute our spiritual duties nicely. Right? So back to the basics always. What happens is that Maya has two energies. Maya first covers and then she pulls. She covers us and then she pulls us down. So what happens is when we go down, we think we are still up. We think our standard is still good. So our standard, even though it is deteriorated, we may still think that it is a good standard. So we should always check our standards. Because Maya makes us think that everything is okay. Right? You are doing everything nicely. You may be multitasking while chanting, but that's okay. Right? You may be sleeping while Bhagavatam class is there, but that's okay. So Maya makes us think that everything is okay. Right? So we should check our standards. We should get back to the basics. The basics are chanting, hearing, reading, right? Attending the programs, morning program, evening program, right? Following Ekadashi nicely. Right? So many things are basic things. So we should think about the basics nicely and carefully execute those things. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Yeah. One more thing which Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport is, no one should be captivated by his birthplace and family. One should take shelter of the association of devotees and cultivate Krishna consciousness. Because Bharata Maharaja in the body of a deer again gave up the place of birth, Mount Kalanjara, the mountain Kalanjara. Right, so he gave up. So Srila Prabhupada writes that one should follow in the footsteps of the deer who became, Bharat Maharaj, as the deer. No one should be captivated by his birthplace and family. One should take shelter of the association of devotees. Yeah. So as far as possible, one should live in the association of devotees. Okay. Then lesson 11, be careful not to fall down again by material associations. Right. So, yeah. Anybody would like to read?
Yes, Prabhu, can I read?
Please, yes. Somebody is not read before.
Yeah. After having given up the body of a deer, he took birth in the womb of the youngest wife of a Brahmana. In this life, he could also remember the activity of his past life. And in order to avoid the influence of society, he remained like a deaf and dumb person. He was very careful not to fall down again. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:9 summary.
So, Srila Prabhupada is writing here that because he could remember the activities of his past life. In order to avoid the influence of society, meaning materialistic association, because he thought that, oh, I fell down because I associated with a deer, and it was material association. So in this lifetime, the third lifetime, he avoided the influence of society. He remained like a deaf and dumb person. He was very careful not to fall down again. So we should be careful not to fall down again and again and again. And Bharat Maharaj did one mistake, but we are doing it lifetime after lifetime. Right? So now we should be careful not to fall down again. Right? So otherwise this will go on and on and on. Yeah, next. Matter does not matter, spirit matters. So it's Jada Bharat, right? So this is the third lifetime of Bharat Maharaj. He lived a very simple life, simple living, high thinking. He was an epitome of this simple living, high thinking. He didn't mind much about the eating and even about his occupation. Or he was not bothered much about it. He did not give much importance. He was satisfied with what he would get, even to eat. So he ate grains of rice, oil cakes, chaff, wormy beans, and rice burnt at the bottom of the pots as if it were nectar. So we can see here that how he tolerated the material situations. Right? The material world is designed for trouble. Material world is designed for all kinds of mishaps. But a devotee should simply tolerate and continue with one's spiritual progress. Just like Bharat Maharaj actually did here. So, Bharat Maharaj did not waste time, Jada Bharat did not waste time to make his material situation very good. So we may endeavor, but we should not over endeavor. This is what Nectar of Instruction says. The main effort should be spiritual. The main goals of life, they are spiritual. Right? Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave two goals. Janma Sharthak Kari, Karo Paropkar. There is no third goal actually. Just like somebody is in prison house, right? So there are only two worthwhile things to do. One, try to get out. The other one, when trying to get out, help others to get out. There is no worthwhile third goal. So this is what actually we can learn from Jada Bharat's behavior in his third life. Okay, we'll go ahead. Yeah. So lesson 13. Narayana para sarvena kudaschana bibyati. Okay, somebody who's not read before, should read.
Is it not possible that Bharat would not be disturbed by his death and not show anger to his killers? O Parikshit, Vishnuduta, it is not surprising that there is no disturbance when one's head is about to be cut off. For persons who are free of the tight knot in the heart composed of identity with the body, who are friends with all beings, sattva, even their killers, and who are protected by the attentive of Apramatena, Lord holding in his hand the attentive, Animisha Chakra, with his various modes of affection for his devotees, protecting the righteous and punishing the sinful. Tai Bhabai.
Yeah. So Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur actually gives this purport. So when is this, right? So we know that Jada Bharat was caught by some thieves, some dacoits. And this bunch of thieves, the leader and all, they caught Jada Bharat. Actually, what happened is that they had caught a human being for sacrificing, but that human being ran away. So when they ran away, they were searching. Then they found him, Jada Bharat, sitting on a field. So they thought, okay, one fellow ran away, so no problem. This guy is also enough, right? So they took him and they nicely cleaned him and all. They fed him. So throughout the whole exercise, Jada Bharat, he didn't protest at all, and he had no fear at all. He was not even disturbed that he was going to be killed. He didn't make any effort to save himself. So here Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur is saying that, is it not impossible that Bharat would not be disturbed by his death? I'm not showing that, right? So he's saying it is not surprising that there is no disturbance when one's head is about to be cut off, because right, these persons they are free from the identification with the body, and they are protected. They know that, okay, so Krishna wants this to happen, fine, let it happen. Because we cannot imitate here Jada Bharat, but at the same time we can see how he was completely, he had no identification with the body. He had separated himself from the identification with the body. So this actually, the extent to which we are actually separated from our body, to that extent only we can become fearless in situations like this. Right, so this verse is, there is a verse, Narayana para sarve na kudaschana bibhyati sarga pavarga nirkeshu api tulyata darshanaha. This is when Chitraketu was cursed by Parvati Devi, and Lord Shiva actually says this verse, because when Chitraketu was cursed, he was cursed from a very top position to become a demon, which is a very low position. So in a moment he lost his external, at least his external body. He was Vidyadhara. He was one of the citizens of heaven. From there he became a demon externally. So Chitraketu was not afraid at all. So Lord Shiva glorifies him and tells Parvati Devi, just look at this person. Right? Imagine Lord Shiva is glorifying somebody. Right? So Lord Shiva was glorifying Chitraketu and saying, this devotees of Narayana, Narayana para sarve, they are completely surrendered. Na kudaschana bibhyati. They don't know what is fear. You actually cursed him, but look at his face. Right? He is not disturbed at all. So if we want to have such a disposition, we want to be fearless, right? So this is the process, to be completely surrendered to the Lord and to not have identification with the body. Okay, so we go to the next one, lesson 14. Vaishnava Aprad is most dangerous. Okay, somebody's not read before, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Lesson 14. Vaishnava Aprad is most dangerous. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Daswamedh Ghat in Prayag, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaishnava. He compared the Vaishnava Aprad to Hathi Mata, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all his spiritual assets. Offending a Brahmana is very dangerous, and this was known to Maharaj Rahugana. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things: thunderbolts, fire, Yamaraj's punishment, the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a Brahmana like Jad Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. This is from the purport 5, 10, 17. So here, what has happened is that Jada Bharat has been employed in carrying the palanquin of King Rahugana. King Rahugana is the the king of the whole planet, just like Bharat Maharaj was. So Bharat Maharaj, Jada Bharat, he is actually carrying the palanquin. He didn't complain for that, but he's avoiding killing any ants and other insects while walking on the ground. So that's why there is a problem while the palanquin is not being carried properly, and then King Rahugana, he actually chastises. And for the first time, Jada Bharat speaks. Till that time, it is said that he didn't speak at all in his life. So he spoke, and when he spoke, Maharaja Rahugana, he understood that this is a very exalted Vaishnava. So then King Rahugana actually was in the mode of goodness. Predominantly he was in the mode of goodness. We can see actually that Jada Bharat's brothers were not instructed. The thieves were not instructed. The Jada Bharat could have instructed the thieves also. But he saw that his brothers and the thieves, they were not ready for instruction. That's why he didn't instruct them. But here he saw King Rahugana was in the mode of goodness and he was ready for instruction. So he instructed King Rahugana, and then King Rahugana, he understood, oh, this is a very exalted personality, what I have done. So King Rahugana says that there are many dangerous things. Indra's thunderbolt, fire, right? Yamaraj's punishment and the punishment of Lord Shiva's trident, and right, there are dangerous things like that, but there's nothing more dangerous than Vaishnava Prad or a Brahmana Prad. Right? So we can learn this lesson from King Rahugana, right? How Vaishnava Prad destroys everything. Right? So the garden example is given because you can't make a garden in one day. You can't have fruits and flowers. It takes a long time to make a garden, but it takes few seconds to destroy it. Right? So a mad elephant can destroy a garden in few seconds. So similarly, in few seconds, we can destroy our spiritual life, which has taken years to build. So one should be therefore very careful about Vaishnava paths. There is no exemption, right, of any sort. Junior or senior devotees, they are subject to Vaishnava path. We will go ahead. Lesson 15. Why is it that generally, even though enlightened by the devotees, all men engage in material happiness? Basically humans engage in material happiness. Why is it? So even though enlightened by the devotees. So this answer is given by Jada Bharat. Okay, somebody's not read before, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes.
As long as the mind of the living entity is contaminated by the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, his mind is exactly like an independent, uncontrolled elephant. It simply expands its jurisdictions of pious and impious activities by using the senses. The result is that the living entity remains in the material world to enjoy and suffer pleasures and pains due to material activity.
Right. So the answer to this question, even after hearing from the devotees, why do people engage in material happiness? So the answer is because of contamination of the mind by the three modes of nature. Right. So this is the answer here. Okay. Let us again, Veer Bhadra Prabhu, would you like to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
When the flame in a lamp burns the wick improperly, the lamp is blackened. But when the lamp is filled with ghee and is burning properly, there is bright illumination. Similarly, when the mind is absorbed in material sense gratification, it causes suffering. And when detached from material sense gratification, it brings about the original brightness of Krishna consciousness.
So here an example is being given by Jada Bharat, right? That the mind is like a lamp, right? So when the lamp is filled with ghee, then it burns properly and there is bright illumination. So when the mind is filled with Krishna consciousness, then everything is nice. Otherwise, right, if the mind is filled with sense gratification, then it causes suffering. It must cause suffering. So this is manaha siksha. This is teachings to our mind, right? So we should tell our mind. We should pray to our mind. Oh my mind, you may want to indulge in material sense gratification, but it will cause suffering. The future is suffering. And how much should we suffer together? We should ask that. Right? So this is what is going on. That the mind is absorbed in sense gratification and then it suffers. And then after suffering, again it indulges in sense gratification and this cycle goes on forever. So to break the cycle here, the mode of goodness, right, it's poison in the beginning, but it is nectar at the end. Right? Whereas Rajasic is nectar in the beginning, but poison in the end. So somehow or other, we should stop our mind from being absorbed in material sense gratification, because the future of that is suffering. So this is what we can learn here. Okay, 16th lesson. Na chandasa naiva jalagni surya vina mahat pada rajo abhishekam. This is a very popular verse. Right? Yeah. Okay, somebody is not read before, please.
Without bathing in the dust from the feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the Lord through concentration of the mind, performance of sacrifices, distributing food, building shelter for the destitute, studying the Vedas, or performing austerities in the water, fire, or the sun.
Yeah. So here it is specifically being given by Jada Bharat that one must bathe in the dust from the feet of great. Actually, this is being given by Rahuguna, King Rahuguna. He's saying one must bathe in the dust of the feet of great devotees. Right. So, what does this mean? Like, of course, there is literally also we can take dust from the feet of great devotees, but it means more following in the footsteps of the great devotees. Mahajano yena gatha sapantaha. Right. So separately, right, one cannot realize the Lord through any other processes. Right. Meaning that Bhakti Yoga depends on the mercy of devotees. We cannot, Bhakti Yoga is not like Ashtanga Yoga, wherein one can work alone and somehow or other perfect oneself. No. Right, Bhakti is about pleasing personalities. Bhakti is about pleasing devotees. The goal in Bhakti Yoga is to please personalities, exalted personalities, devotees, Guru, right? And of course, their lordships. So we should always remember that we may be doing some small service, some big service, or whatever services, and we are doing our sadhana, everything is meant to actually please personalities, these exalted personalities. And if they are pleased, then only, right, it's possible to attain perfection through bhakti. Okay, so I think we have come to the conclusion. These are some concluding words. We have seen this before. Right? Let me read this. Spiritual salvation and liberation from material bondage must be worked out with great caution. Otherwise, a little discrepancy will cause one to fall down again into material existence. So these are Srila Prabhupada's words right in the beginning of Bharat Maharaj's episode. Right. So again, so these words are the conclusions or the summary of the entire episode of Bharat Maharaj. Right. So one thing is one should be very cautious, and in case one does fall down, then one should not fall down again. Right? These two things can be taken as a conclusion for this whole episode of Bharat Maharaj. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, all of you, for your patient hearing. If there are any questions, I can take some. Yes, Pandurang Kripak Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu, for very nice, wonderful class.
Hare Hare.
I don't have question, Prabhu. Just want to say that in
Yeah.
ashram, when we are staying with devotees,
Yes.
generally in ashram, so many things happening from morning to night.
Right.
So somewhere, and we are also not in the mode of Sattvagun always. Our mode also changes.
Yeah.
So when something happens in ashram, somewhere we became judgmental. We give our opinion.
Right.
We judge somebody.
Right.
Like he didn't did this right. He was wrong. He's not good. Some opinion we always give unknowingly, knowingly. Somewhere,
Yeah.
so there we commit generally mistakes.
Yeah.
So even though we are careful, but this Vaishnava aparadha is happening always.
Right. So that is because of our swabhava. It is because of our nature. So all of us, we want to retaliate back, but we should we should think about the reward of not retaliating back. We should think of the reward of tolerance. The reward is too great. Like supposing somebody tells you, 1 month you just tolerate all these people, I will give you, 1 crore rupees. Will it be easy to tolerate?
Yes, bro.
Right. So actually 1 crore is nothing, right? When we are talking about Vaikuntha or Goloka.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, so we should always remember the goal. If you remember the goal, then tolerance becomes easy. And one more thing is that, Mahatma Prabhu, he wrote a poem, I am shocked. Right? The name of I think the title of the poem is that. Right? In that he says that one devotee, he goes back to Goret. And then he sees other devotees, ISKCON devotees. And he starts thinking, my God, what is this devotee doing here? How come he reached here? So he's thinking about few of the devotees, right? And what is happening on the other side? Everybody is shocked that how this fellow came here.
Right, bro.
Right? So Mahatma Prabhu says that we are being judgmental on other devotees, but other devotees are also thinking the same way about us. Right? So we should never be sure about our intelligence, our mind and intelligence. We should never be sure. We can make mistakes while judging other devotees. We can easily make mistakes. Right? We are not having some perfect intelligence given by the Lord or something like that. Huh? Right? So it takes some maturity to reach this level. Right? To know that you do not know.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Uh,
Krishna, Prabhu.
okay, Pavitra Prabhu and then Patitarana Prabhu. Okay, yes, Pavitra Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful lectures. Prabhu, because of your PowerPoint, there was an instance where they say one should not be attached to his place of birth.
Right.
Yeah, and the nectar of instruction, we are advised one should reside in a holy dam.
Right, right.
Yeah. So if someone is staying in Vrindavan or Mayapur or Jagannath Puri and become attached to those places, is it an offense?
Oh, no, not at all. If somebody is born in a dham, you are asking if they are born in a dham and then they are attached to those places, no problem. Here, the deer, Bharat Maharaj became a deer and the deer left the place of birth and again went to Pulaha ashram. The first place where Bharat Maharaj was performing his devotional service was Pulaha ashram, which was by the side of the Gandaki river. So when he became a deer, he went to the same place. He went to the same ashram again. So he left his home. The whole point is that don't be in a place where again you'll be just shown material affection. That's all. Be in a holy place, be in a spiritual place. That's the message which Srila Prabhupada is trying to give. So sometimes devotees go home for a few days and then they come back and say, oh, I could not chant properly. I could not, I could not even concentrate properly. Now my consciousness is disturbed. TV was going on, television was going on, and my relatives were there and they were showing so much affection and all. So overall, what has happened is that my consciousness has come down. I have heard this from so many devotees. Right. So in general, this is the message. Okay, Patita Taran Prabhu and then Aja Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam. Was such a wonderful class. Thank you so much. Prabhu, I have two questions here. Okay, the first question is like, for instance, in Malaysia for the last, there's another wave of COVID is spreading very badly. And like even my family, everyone is affected with COVID now. Say like, for instance, you were saying about this devotee association.
Yes.
Okay, like now, ever since COVID was, the lockdown, pandemic and everything, I think for the last 2 years, many people were very comfortable associate with devotees through online. Even I got the opportunity to do my Bhakti Sastri online because of COVID, if not, Right. So then we have like 6-7 programs a week and everything. And when we look at Sunday program, we hardly have around 6 people attending Sunday program. They're not interested in Sunday program. So the question is it association with devotee through online is still devotee association? That's the first question. And the second question is, Prabhu, that you are saying about that aparat. Recently, I've got my mentor, my Siksha Guru, who have cultivated me so nicely.
Yes.
Suddenly he became deviant to ISKCON. And he left the movement. Then he's been asking me to do the same. So I rebuked him and I went against him and I said nothing doing. And in fact, I need to alert some of the other devotees that not to follow his footstep. He's been deviant. No, in other words, I need to find fault and to criticize him or to create something like indirectly I have to create hatred towards him so that people will never get deviated like him. So in this situation, how can we, he's a Brahmana and he's such an exalted devotee, but unfortunately the thing happened. So in this situation, is it still called aparat? So that's the question. Right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, okay. So answering your first question, yes, online association is also association, definitely. And sometimes it can be even better than physical association. Just like when we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books, right? We are associating with Srila Prabhupada. It is not physical association, but it is more powerful than even physical association with other devotees. So Krishna has designed internet and online association for Kali Yuga. Krishna has given this gift to us, right? This Zoom is a gift in the COVID times. So definitely this is good association, online association, and we should take advantage of it. And we should not think that it is anything less than physical association, though of course physical association is also a must. But wherever it is not possible, then electronic association, right, is as good as that. There is no reason or logic to say that it is not. That's the answer to your first question. So one must take advantage of online association as much as possible, definitely. Second thing is your situation about whether it would be Vaishnava Aparadh. It would be, and it would not be, depending upon what is your mood when you're dealing with this situation. Right. So somebody who has been your Shiksha Guru and has been a good devotee for many years, it's like a person who has been fighting with Maya for many years, and now suddenly in one way Maya has caught him. It's like a soldier who has fought for many years on the battlefield, and now suddenly he is injured. So what should we do with a soldier who is injured? Should we criticize? We should not. Or if the soldier has got some COVID, we can inform people that this person has got COVID, so don't go near him. But we don't criticize. Right? So many times what happens is we go overboard, we overreact, and then that becomes an offense. There is no exemption. And most of the time we get carried away by situations, and we start thinking that how this devotee can speak like this, how this devotee can act like this. But Krishna actually takes all that into account. Our logic, when we commit offenses, and Krishna's logic is different. What we may not take as an offense, Krishna takes it as an offense. So there may be a difference in thinking of devotees and difference in thinking of the Lord. But we have to be careful, because when Vaishnava Aparadh strikes, then we may be forced to become like the same deviant devotee. Forced. We may be forced. When we are forced by Krishna, we can't do anything.
Yes.
We can also become like him. So that's why very carefully, very sensitively, this issue has to be dealt with without offending. Right? So the needful has to be done, but without offense. So the best thing is no criticism, but at the same time, information should be given with the mood that yes, this person somehow or other, it has been a great devotee, has done so much service, but he has deviated, and therefore now we should not follow him. But at the same time, we should be respectable towards him.
Yes.
Right? So,
What he says, right, Prabhu? Because I think the reason for his deviation is because he's been following some deviant group online, and he was reading. I think somehow they got influenced. Actually, in fact, when he first told me, I was just I was ignoring him.
right.
I was just ignoring him. He sent me message, WhatsApp. I just I don't reply. I don't say anything until one day he called me up. But anyway, I was very respectful. But I told him, I cannot agree to you this, because Prabhupada built the house and we are the inheritance of the society. Because of some internal conflict, I cannot leave the house. So, anyway, but the thing is, I'm the secretary for our temple in Ipoh. I mean, in Malaysia. Yes. So it's my job is to inform everyone. Yes. But I said it very, what they call respectfully. But I also need to
both things. But
Prabhu, another thing is, do you think by us being humble, especially in this situation, the deviant situation, Do you think that sometimes the deviants taking us for a ride? We are telling them, okay, forgive, forget, avoid, go on chanting. But do you think that they're taking more advantage that?
No, we
because
should
in my
be,
center, there's a big issue now.
we should be polite yet firm. We should be polite but firm. Meaning that if we have to call a spade, we must call that. But we should do it politely, respectfully. That's all
I see.
has to be done.
Oh, thank God. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Aja Prabhu, and then last question, Bambika Mataji, or last comment, whatever. Yes,
Very,
Aja Prabhu, yes.
very nice class, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your association. I just asking you for the reference for this point that you had made, that humans, before becoming humans, they were either in monkey, lion, or cow species. So did you remember where this could be mentioned?
This is from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Let me just tell you, yes.
Oh, very nice, thank you.
Yeah, this is from Srila. Yeah, 5826 purport.
Oh, perfect, Prabhuji.
5826. Srila Prabhupada is right. 5826.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Yes. Ambika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
yes.
you very much. I wanted to ask, since we were talking about offenses, so is there a difference if a person, a devotee, offends a normal, strong, like fully able person, or if the offender offends a person who is vulnerable, whose health may be affected by such stressful situation? Also, is there a difference in what type of reaction it causes, or
Yeah, so the reaction is different. The Vaishnava Aparadha has two types of reactions, material and spiritual. So sometimes our health can also become disturbed due to Vaishnava Aparadha. Just like Gopal Chapal, he committed offense to Srivas Pandit and he got leprosy. Right, so then Saubari Muni, he committed offense to Garuda and he had a lot of material desires. He wanted to enjoy. So different varieties of reactions can be there, yes. Depending upon whom we have offended. If the devotee whom we have offended is a very exalted devotee, then our spiritual life is finished. At least for that period of time till we ask forgiveness. Right. So varieties of reactions, both materially we are finished and spiritually also we are finished. So very dangerous.
Okay, thank you very much. How about specifically if the offended is vulnerable? And this, of course, offenders usually they don't see who it is who they offend because it's something that they just do. But if the offended is vulnerable,
if the offender is vulnerable,
offended person.
Offended person is vulnerable. I'm sorry, I'm not able to. Can somebody else explain Mataji's question to me?
Yes, so just the opposite. If the offender is strong and
offender is strong. Okay. If the offender is a strong devotee and he or she is offending junior devotees, is that what you are asking?
Yes, either junior or some
less advanced, is it?
Somehow sick or elder or somehow vulnerable.
It doesn't matter. Actually, if a senior devotee offends a junior devotee, then the senior devotee will get reactions. Right? So here, in the case of Vaishnava Aparadh, there is no exemption for senior, junior. No one is exempted. No one is exempted. So even if a very exalted devotee commits Vaishnava Aparadh, the reactions will be there. No matter what is one's position. Even if he or she is committing offense against a lesser devotee, still they will be affected. To some degree, they will be affected. When two Vaishnavas fight, then both of them get affected. Two Vaishnavas or two Vaishnavis, if they fight, just like if two children are fighting, the mother comes and slaps both of them. Right? The mother will come and give punishment to both children. So like that, if two Vaishnavas or two Vaishnavis are fighting, both of them will get affected. Right. I hope I have answered your question. So thank you very much, all of you, right, for your patient hearing and your questions. And thank you very much for your association. Hare Krishna. I'm sorry I went 15 minutes of over.